Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel where we talk all things true crime. If you are new here and you appreciate today's case coverage, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel. It's free to do and it really helps my channel grow. Also, if you could hit that like button and comment your thoughts below on this case, I would love to hear those. For all my returning Titans, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me for yet another upload. You guys are the true MVP of my channel. If you haven't joined our members only membership yet, please do so by clicking the join button below, or you can go over to the main page and click the join button there. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and get into today's video. Today's video, we are going to go over the probable cause affidavit in the Delphi murders of Abby Williams and Libby German. The probable cause will show why Richard Allen is the prime suspect in the Delphi case. This is a lot to go over, and I'm doing this really all in one shot, no stopping, with one eye, so give your girl a break. So I'm going to try to read it slowly so it's easier to grasp what is being said and what evidence they have as to why they arrested Richard Allen. At the end of the video, I'm going to do a small recap of what the affidavit means and exactly what evidence they have. So let's get into it. This is going to be the affidavit here, and I blew it up for you guys pretty well, I believe. That way you guys can kind of follow along with me. At the beginning, it just says the state of Indiana, county of Carroll, state of Indiana versus Richard Allen. And I did go through this in a previous live, but we're going to do it again. I, the undersigned affiant, submit the following information pursuant to IC.35-33-7-2 as a sworn affidavit setting forth the facts and circumstances known to law enforcement of Carroll County as the basis for probable cause to arrest without a warrant or to establish probable cause for issuance of an arrest warrant for the above named defendant. This is just the legal part at the beginning. That the facts and circumstances described below would be sufficient basis for a person of reasonable caution and prejudice to believe that the accused has committed or attempt to commit the offenses described, and if arrested without a warrant, such would be authorized under I.C.35-33-1-1, that the hearsay statements of witnesses contained herein are considered reliable and credible due to the witness's personal knowledge and or are corroborated by the totality of the circumstances. So that's basically them saying that they believe these witnesses that came forward. That on February 14th, 2017, victim 1 and victim 2 were found deceased in the woods approximately 0.2 miles northeast of the Monon High Bridge in Carroll County. Their bodies were located on the north side of Deer Creek. At the time, Monon High Bridge was an approximately 1 mile gravel trail terminating at the Monon High Bridge. The Monon High Bridge is an abandoned railroad trestle approximately 0.25 miles long, spanning Deer Creek and Deer Creek Valley on the southeast end of the trail. Approximately 0.7 miles northwest on the trail from that northwestern edge of the Monon High Bridge is the Freedom Bridge, which is a pedestrian bridge spanning State Road 25. Approximately 350 feet west of Freedom Bridge was a former railroad overpass over Old State Route 25, also known as Country Road 300 North. The trail terminates just west of the former railroad overpass. The majority of the trail is a wooded area with a steep embankment on the south side of the trail. The entirety of the trail and the location of the girls' bodies were and are located in Carroll County, Indiana. Through interviews, reviews of electronic records, and review of video at the Hoosier Harvest Store, investigators believe victim 1 and victim 2 were dropped off across from the Mears farm at 1:49 p.m. on February 13th, 2017 by redacted. There are some names that are redacted in this, and I'll just be saying redacted, but we already know that that was Libby's sister that dropped them off that day. And I'm just going to grab a drink really quick, guys. The Mears farm is located on the north side of Country Road 300 North near an entrance to the trails. A video from victim 2's phone shows that at 2:13 p.m., victim 1 and victim 2 encountered a male subject on the southeast portion of the Monon High Bridge. The male ordered the girls down the hill. No witnesses saw them after this time. No outgoing communications were found on victim 2's phone after this time. Their bodies were discovered on February 14th, 2017. The video recovered from victim 2's phone shows victim 1 walking southeast on the Monon High Bridge while a male subject wearing a dark jacket and jeans walks behind her. As the male subject approaches victim 1 and victim 2, one of the victims mentions gun. We never heard this before. So, gun. Now we know why he was able to subdue both of them at the same time. Near the end of the video, a male is seen and heard telling the girls, "Guys, down the hill." The girls then begin to proceed down the hill and the video ends. A still photograph taken from the video and the "guys down the hill" audio was subsequently released to the public to assist investigators in identifying the male. Victim 1 and victim 2's death were ruled as homicides. Clothes were found in the Deer Creek belongings. Okay, so I'm going to say that over. Clothes were found in the Deer Creek belonging to victim 1 and victim 2 south of where their bodies were located. So their clothing was found in Deer Creek. There was also a .40 caliber unspent round less than 2 feet away from victim 2's body between victim 1 and victim 2's bodies. The round was unspent and had expiration marks on it. So glad that it has some marks on it. Interviews were conducted with 3 juveniles, redacted and redacted. They advised they were on the Monon High Bridge Trail on February 13, 2017. They advised they were walking on the trail towards Freedom High Bridge to go home, and they encountered a male walking from Freedom Bridge towards the Monon High Bridge. Redacted described the male as kind of creepy and advised he was wearing light blue jeans and a light really blue jacket, and his hair was very gray, maybe a little brown, and he did not really show his face. She advised the jacket was a duck canvas type jacket. Redacted advised she said hi to the male, but he just glared at them. She recalled him being in all black and had something covering his mouth. She described him as not very tall with a bigger build. She said he was not bigger than 5'10". Redacted advised he was wearing a black hoodie, black jeans, and black boots. She stated he had his hands in his pockets. Redacted showed investigators photographs she took on her phone while she was at the trail that day. Such smart people. The photographs included a photograph of the Monon High Bridge taken at 12:43 p.m. and another one taken at 1:26 p.m. of the bench east of the Freedom Bridge. Redacted advised after she took the photo of the bench, they started walking back towards Freedom Bridge. She advised that was when they encountered the man who matched the description of the photograph taken from victim 2's video. Redacted described the man she encountered on the trail as wearing a blue or black windbreaker jacket. She advised the jacket had a collar and he had his hood up from the clothing underneath his jacket. She advised he was wearing baggy jeans and he was taller than her. She advised her head came up to approximately his shoulders. She advised Redacted said hi to the man and that he said nothing back. She stated he was walking with a purpose, like he knew where he was going. She stated he had his hands in his pockets and he kept his head down. She advised she did not get a good look at his face but believed him to be a white male. The girls advised after encountering the male, they continued their walk across Freedom Bridge and the old railroad bridge over Old State Route 25. Investigators spoke with Redacted, who advised that she was on the trails on February 13, 2017. Video from Hoosier Harvest Store captured Redacted vehicle traveling eastbound at 1:46 p.m. towards the entrance across the Mears farm. Redacted advised she saw 4 juvenile females walking on the bridge over Old State Route 25 as she was driving underneath on her way to park. Redacted advised that there were no other cars parked across from the Mears farm when she parked. She advised she walked to the Mona High Bridge and observed a male matching the one from victim 2's video. So one of the girls' video. Well, it would have been Libby's video. She described the male she saw as a white male wearing blue jeans and a blue jean jacket. She advised he was standing on the first platform of the Mona High Bridge, approximately 50 feet from her. She advised she turned around at the bridge and continued her walk. She advised approximately halfway between the bridge and the parking area across from Mears Farm, she passed two girls walking towards Mona High Bridge. She advised she believed the girls were victims 1 and victims 2. Video from the Hoosier Harbor Store shows at 1:45 p.m. a white car matching the vehicle traveling away from the entrance across from the Mears Farm. Redacted advised she finished her walk and saw no other adults other than the male on the bridge. Her vehicle is seen on Hoosier Harbor Store video at 2:14 p.m. leaving westbound from the trails. Redacted advised when she was leaving, she noted a vehicle was parked in an odd manner at the old Child Protective Service building. She said it was not odd for vehicles to be parked there, but she noticed it was odd because of the manner it was parked, backed in near the building. Investigators received a tip from Redacted in which he stated he was on his way to Delphi on State 25 around 2:10 p.m. on February 13, 2017. He observed a purple PT Cruiser or a small SUV-type vehicle parked on the south side of the old Child Protective Service building. He stated it appeared as though it was backed in as to conceal the license plate of the vehicle. Redacted both drew diagrams of where they saw the vehicle parked, and their diagrams generally match as to the area the vehicles were parked and the manner in which it was parked. Redacted advised he remembered seeing a smaller dark-colored car parked at the CPS building. He described it as possibly being a smart car. Redacted vehicle is seen leaving at 2:28 p.m. on the Hoosier Harbor Store video. So they did have video, more video. Investigators spoke with Redacted, who stated that she was traveling east on 300 North on February 13, 2022, and observed a male subject walking west on the north side of 300 North away from Mona High Bridge. Redacted advised that the male subject was wearing a blue collar jacket and blue jeans and was muddy and bloody. She further stated that it appeared he had gotten into a fight. Investigators were able to determine that from watching the vehicle from Hoosier Store that Redacted was traveling on CR 300 North at approximately 3:57 p.m. Through interviews, electronic data, photographs, and video from the Hoosier Harbor Store, investigators determined that there were other people on the trail that day after 2:13 p.m. Those people were interviewed, and none of those individuals encountered the male subject referenced above, witnessed by the juvenile girls, Redacted, and Redacted. Further, none of the individuals witnessed victim 1 or victims 2. I'm going to take a small drink of my coffee here. Okay. Investigators reviewing prior tips encountered a tip narrative form, an officer who interviewed Richard M. Allen in 2017. The narrative stated, Mr. Allen was on the trail between 13:30 and 15:30. He parked at the Old Farm Brewer building and walked to the new Freedom Bridge. While at the Freedom Bridge, he saw 3 females. He noted one was taller and had brown or black hair. He did not remember description, nor did he speak with them. He walked from the Freedom Bridge to the High Bridge. He did not see anybody, although he stated he was watching a stock ticker on his phone as he walked. He stated there were vehicles parked at the High Bridge trail ahead. However, he did not pay attention to them. He did not take any photo or video. His cell phone did not list an IMEI, but did have the following. And it shows this. These are like the MEIDI. They're like little codes for your phone. It kind of tells your phone where it's at and has all the information of your phone in it. Potential follow-up information. Who were the 3 girls walking in the area of Freedom Bridge? Investigators believe Mr. Allen was referring to the former Child Protective Service building, as there was not a farm brewer building in the area, nor had there been. Investigators believe the females he saw included redacted and redacted due to the time they were leaving the trail, the time he reported getting to the trail, and the description of the three females gave. I'm sorry. Investigators discovered Richard Allen owned two vehicles in 2017, a 2016 black Ford Focus and a 2006 gray Ford 500. Investigators observed a vehicle that resembled Allen's 2016 Ford Focus on the Hoosier Harvest Store video at 1:27 p.m. traveling westbound on CR 300 north in front of Hoosier Harvest Store, which coincided with his statement that he arrived around 1:30 at the trails. Investigators know witnesses described the vehicle parked at the former Child Protective Service building as a PT Cruiser, small SUV, or smart car. Investigators believe those descriptions are similar in nature to a 2016 Ford Focus. Okay, we're getting somewhere, guys. On October 13th, 2022, Richard Allen was interviewed again by investigators. He advised he was on the trails on February 13th, 2017. He stated he saw juvenile girls on the trail east of Freedom Bridge and that he went on to Monon High Bridge. Richard Allen further stated he went out onto the Monon High Bridge to watch fish. Later in his statement, he said he walked out to the first platform on the bridge. He stated he then walked back, sat on a bench on the trail, and then left. He stated he parked his car on the side of the old building. It's funny because he said that he was looking at stocks and he was walking. He told investigators that he was wearing blue jeans and a blue or black Carhartt jacket with a hood. He advised he may have been wearing some type of head covering as well. He further claimed he saw no one else except for the juvenile girls he saw of the Freedom Bridge. He told investigators that he owns firearms and that they are at his home. Richard M. Allen's wife, Kathy Allen, who spoke to investigators, she confirmed that Richard Allen did have guns and knives at the residence. She also stated that Richard still owns a blue Carhartt jacket. On October 13th, 2022, investigators executed a search warrant of Richard Allen's residence. This is where it's getting good, guys. At 1967 North Whitman Drive, Delphi, Carroll County, Indiana. Among other items, officers located jackets, boots, knives, and firearms, including a Sig Sauer model P22-6 .40 caliber pistol with serial number U625627. Between October 14th, 2022 and October 19th, 2022, the Indiana State Police Laboratory performed an analysis on Allen's Sig Sauer model P226. That's the gun. The laboratory performed a physical examination and a classification of the firearm, function test, barrel, and overall length, measurement, test firing, ammunition component, characterization, microscopic comparison, and NIBIN. The laboratory determined that the unspent round located within 2 feet of victim's two's body had been cycled through Richard M. Allen's Sig Sauer model 226P. The laboratory remarked, an identification opinion is reached when the evidence exhibits an agreement of class characteristics and a sufficient agreement of individual marks. Sufficient agreement is related to the significant duplication of random striated/impressed marks as evident by the correspondence of a pattern or combination of patterns or surface contours. The interpretation of identification is subject in nature and based on relevant scientific research and the reporting examiner's training and expertise. So that's just saying like what the striation marks would look like on the bullet if it was chambered through the gun, because the gun is going to have different impression marks on each weapon, and it's going to put that impression mark on the bullet. Investigators then ran the firearm and found that the firearm was purchased by Allen in 2001. Richard Allen voluntarily came to the Indiana State Police Post on October 26, 2022. He spoke with investigators and stated that he never allowed anyone to use or borrow the Sig Sauer Model 226 firearm. When asked about the unspent bullet, he did not have an explanation of why the bullet was found between the bodies of victim 1 and victim 2. He again admitted he was on the trail, but denied knowing victim 1 or victim 2 and denied any involvement in their murders. Carroll County Sheriff Department Detective Redacted has been part of the investigation since it started in 2017. He has had an opportunity to review and examine evidence gathered in the investigation. Detectives Redacted, along with other investigators, believe the evidence gathered shows that Richard Allen is the male subject seen on the video from victim 2's phone, who forced the victims down the hill. Further, that the victims were forced down the hill by Richard Allen and led to the location where they were murdered. Through the statements and photographs of the juvenile females and the statements of Redacted were at the southeast edge of the trail at 2:43 p.m. east of Freedom Bridge at 1:26 p.m. and walked across the former railroad overpass over Old State Route 25 after 1:26 p.m. and before 1:46 p.m. They walked the entirety of the trail and observed only one person, an adult male. Vehicle is seen on Hoosier Harvester video at 1:46 p.m. and leaving at 2:46 p.m. And she stated she only saw one adult male. Redacted described the male in similar manners, wearing similar clothing, leading investigators to believe all four saw the same male individual. Investigators believe the male observed by Redacted is the same male depicted in the video from victim 2's phone due to the description of the male by the four females matching the male in the video. Furthermore, victim 2's video was taken at 2:13 p.m. and Redacted saw only one male while she was on the trail from approximately 1:46 p.m. to 2:14 p.m. Investigators believe Richard Allen was the male seen by Redacted and the male seen in victim 2's video. Richard Allen told investigators he was on the trail from 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. that day. Video from the Hoosier Harvester shows a vehicle that matches the description of Richard Allen's vehicle passing at 1:27 p.m. towards the former CPS building. The clothing he told investigators he was wearing matched the clothing of the male in victim 2's video and the clothing descriptions provided by Redacted. A vehicle matching the description of his 2016 Ford Focus is seen at or around 2:10 p.m., 2:14 p.m., and 2:28 p.m. at the former CPS building. Through his own admissions, Richard Allen walked the trails and eventually hiked to the Monon High Bridge and walked out onto the Monon High Bridge. A male subject matching Richard Allen's description was not seen on the trail after 2:13 p.m. Investigators identified other individuals on the trails or CR 300 north between 2:30 and 4:11 p.m. None of those individuals saw a male subject matching the description of Richard Allen on the trail. Furthermore, Richard Allen stated that he only saw three girls on the trail who investigators believe to be the Redacted. Investigators believe Richard Allen was not seen on the trail after 2:13 p.m. because he was in the woods with victim 1 and victim 2. An unspent .40 caliber round between the bodies of victims 1 and victims 2 was forensically determined to have been cycled through Richard Allen's Sig Sauer model P226. The Sig Sauer model P226 was found at Richard Allen's residence, and he admitted to owning it. Investigators were able to determine that he owned it since 2001. Richard Allen stated he had not been on that property where the unspent round was found and that he did not know the property owner and that he had no explanation as to why a round cycled through his firearm would be at that location. Furthermore, he stated that he would never allow anyone to use or borrow the Sig Sauer model P226. So no one was borrowing it. Furthermore, he stated that he never allowed, I'm sorry, I read that already, but investigators believe that after the vehicles were murdered, Richard Allen returned to his vehicle by walking down CR 300 North. Investigators believe he was seen by Redacted walking back to his vehicle on CR 300 North with clothes that were muddy and bloody. Okay, so we're at the end here finally. Redacted, along with investigators, believe the statements made by the witnesses because the statements corroborate the timeline of the death of the two victims as well as coincide with the admissions made by Richard Allen. Furthermore, the accounts relayed by Redacted are similar in nature, and timestamps on photographs taken by Redacted correspond to the times the juvenile females said they were on the trail and saw the male individual. So a lot of people have been talking about this, and they've been saying, that this is only 7 pages long and there should be 8 pages. I think it's because with everything redacted, it kind of moved the pages up, or there was a cover page to begin with on the top. Maybe that's why we're only seeing the 7 pages instead of the 8 pages. But I'm sure it may come out later. I'm just glad that we've gotten this. This is huge for this case. So summary, I wanted to give a summary at the end because this is a very long video and it's a lot to go through. So if you're here at the end, here is a summary. There were 3 witnesses that came forward that day saying they saw a man in a similar description as Alan and wearing the same clothing as the bridge guy we see on Libby's phone. One witness said she saw a man with blood and mud all over his clothing. Alan also puts himself at the scene that day. An ejected .40 caliber shell found near one of the victim's bodies, and it was actually found in between the bodies. Suspect ties suspect Richard Allen to the 2017 killing of Delphi teens Abby and Libby, according to Probable Cause Affidavit released Tuesday. The tool marks on the shell match a pistol owned by Allen, according to the affidavit, which had some redactions. In an interview with police, Allen said he never let anyone use or borrow his pistol. And according to the affidavit and what we read, Allen had no explanation for how a shell ejected from his sidearm and was found at the scene of the crime. So those are the things that's just kind of like a summary of everything that I read. But his car was seen there. He's been seen on camera. You know, 3 different witnesses came forward and saw him. It's not looking good for him. So I can kind of see why he wants to change of venue. But that's all that I have for you guys for this video. I wanted to get this out for you. That way you have it. Just wanted to let you know, if you did stick through it till the end, I appreciate you guys so very much. You don't understand. And I would love for you, if you're new, if you would love to subscribe to the channel, that would be so great. We would love to have you. And for all my returning Titans that stuck with me through the end of this video, as well as my live, you guys are the true MVPs. I will see you guys all in my next video. Bye, guys.